How's it going? Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to the Dollar Hour, hosted by yours truly, Mr. Short Dollar, Deonte Burden. Got an awesome show planned for you guys tonight and everything. We got a good show tonight. We're going to be talking about how much money do you need to have saved for retirement. Again, how much money do you need to have saved up for retirement? I put this poll out, on my different Facebook pages this week, and I got a plethora of answers from different people in regards to that, and I think it's really needed. I'm super excited about going over the show and everything, sharing what I believe, what you need in regards to retirement. And I also want you guys to make sure you're tuning in to make sure you let me know exactly what you guys think that you should be having saved up for retirement, okay? Before we get started, I'm going to say what's up to my awesome producers, DJ Lab and Slick 316.
What's going on, brother?
Now, what's happening? Happy Thursday, brother.
Rainy Thursday, right?
Rainy Thursday, boy. Rain in Georgia, Lord.
We can use it, though. Why not?
Yeah.
We complain about it, then all of a sudden it'll be sun forever.
Nah, I think that heat gone.
You think it's gone?
Yeah, I think that heat gone. Heat gone. The corona's on his way.
Still here.
Yeah, what's that on the Game of Thrones? The White Army, the White Army. They just been getting ready. The White Walkers, they getting ready.
Yeah.
As always, they do a rehash the previous week. We still are in the middle of the pandemic and everything, so we know that hasn't changed. Also, I just left my son Christopher Burden, his JV game. Big shout out to the Jonesboro High School JV. They were playing Lovejoy High School, 12 Oaks at Lovejoy High School. It was kind of a little bittersweet for me. I think Chris texted me said Jonesboro lost 20-0. The thing that kind of get me, the kids from Lovejoy are the same kids that I coach with him from 5 all the way to 12.
Okay.
So I sat on Lovejoy side with all my old parents.
Right.
And seeing all my kids, because even though my child playing for over there,
Right.
I sat over there with all my kids I had since they were 5, 12, and it was cool just to see them in high school and
doing their thing.
Yeah, and I walked down, right before halftime. Everybody would come to dapping up Coach Burden
Oh, okay.
and everything. So it was cool. I had a good time. So big shout out. But I will say this, Chris Burden, you had a good game, brother.
He had a good game.
Yeah, my eyes on him. So yeah, boy, yeah. He had a big duty in front of him. He was holding his own.
Okay.
He ever holding his own. He played
That's
guard.
all you want.
Huh? Yeah. 'Cause that was a big brother he had in front of him. Yeah. God. But a big shout out to him. Also want to remind everybody, make sure we got the courses coming out and everything. You may have been seeing some of the videos and some of the promo videos going out. I got commercial streaming in New York, Houston, and Metro Atlanta. I'll start streaming out a couple more cities in regards to some of the courses I got in regards to the different business products we have and everything, and also with the with Changing Lives, we have the courses coming out in regards to mastering self-discipline.
Okay.
Also with the major thing that's coming out right now, I got this tax school. I got a whole tax course coming out if you want to start your own tax business. So you should see everything streaming out soon, coming out with the commercials. If you want to start your own tax business, I'm going to probably have a live event, I'm thinking October 12th, but between October 12th and October 15th.
Okay.
Have a live event free for everybody, webinar. Tell everybody come check it out. Tell them about the tax business and everything. I'm 20 years in the game and that. And then from that point, you can register to take my whole course.
Okay.
On how to start your own tax business. And then if you need more information after that, how to sign up for my coaching courses. So
Okay.
I've been warming you guys up for the past couple of months. We are here.
Yeah.
We are here right now. So everything is going and everything. So just check everything out. I'm super excited about everything. So just be on the lookout for that. So even with that said, on all videos we have, even with the show and everything else, we have the mailing list. Make sure you join the mailing list so you can stay updated on all the information we have in regards to the different courses, the different things that are coming out with Mr. Short Dollar, and also some of the stuff will come out on my other YouTube channel, Changing Lives. So please make sure you join the mailing list. If you see the link, hit it and everything. And I think I did have the link for the most of the time of the videos where you can check out even the Mastering Self, Beating Procrastination.
Okay.
Beating Procrastination. The Mastering Self-Discipline course will be out within the next week or so.
Okay.
But, you asked, I told you I was going to do it, and now it's coming out there, so everybody be ready. And so, but again, I appreciate all the support with that also and everything. One more thing I do want to tell everybody, big thank you. Mr. Short Dollar is over 1,600 subscribers.
Yeah.
And this has been truly organic. And I just want to tell everybody, thank you from the bottom of my heart. If we can, let's get up to 1,700 for the month out. We got a good week.
Right.
So, just again, I want to tell everybody thank you for that. we've got very stagnant with changing lives. So I need you guys to pick it up
Mm-hmm.
and everything and stuff. But I think probably some stuff I need to do differently.
Okay.
I'll put more of it on me. But again, Mr. Short Dollar's been, really exploding, man. With Mr. Short Dollar, we talk about personal finance, entrepreneurship, business, and real estate investing. And you guys really been tuned in and support me and everything. And I hope I've been, giving you some good products and good information, in response to that too. Last, I want to just remind everybody, like I did last week, register to vote. Register to vote. Like we talked about last week's show, don't hold your vote. I need everybody to make sure you register to vote. Remember, if you haven't voted in two consecutive cycles, you are automatically taken off the roll to being registered to vote. So you need to make sure you register to vote. If you're not sure that you are registered to vote or not, go to your Secretary of State website. You're going to put in a couple of little information on there to check and see if you're still registered. From that point, they'll confirm if you're registered or not. They'll tell you where you need to go vote at also. So please, please, please make sure you register to vote. Remember, if you don't vote, you don't have a voice. You got a big old opinion, but it's just like everybody else. So
Everybody got one.
Exactly. So please make sure you register to vote. Again, this is Mr. Short Dollar, where we talk about personal finance, entrepreneurship, business, and real estate investing. Please make sure you go to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the Facebook channel, subscribe to the TikTok page channel, and everything. Any way you want to get in contact with your boy, you can get it.
No excuse.
Yes, sir. Find out how to make some money, take some money, bake some money, and everything else.
That's right. That's right.
But I'm super excited about it. And we're talking about tonight's show. What really had me amped up about talking about tonight's show is because when you every time you turn around, you see everybody talking about, investing and getting everything together. Everybody putting money in their 401k. Everybody, is, doing all kind of other stuff, getting bitcoins and susus and all this kind of different stuff coming back, and everybody will have different methods of saving. And you see all these different groups, you see all these different people's opinions, and they're putting out different stuff. But then me being, I'm a numbers guy. My undergrad is in finance. I'm an accountant by profession. The question always comes up, and we used to talk about this, in undergrad. How much do you need in retirement?
Right.
And I don't think most people think of that. A person tell you if you put away X amount of dollars for X amount of years at this rate, you have this much saved. People are like, yeah. But do you really need that? Or do you need more?
I think people need for you to tell them the perspective of retirement. What most people think retirement, they think not working no more, not. What end of the scale are you on the retirement thing? Do you think somebody gonna work a little part-time job maybe, or no work at all?
No work at all.
Well, nowadays you gotta add in insurance and all that stuff. So, on your perspective of retirement, on your scale, what does that entail?
Well, what I define retirement is that you don't have to work.
Okay.
You can work, but you don't have to work. I mean, if you retire from your job and you don't have the pressures of actually having a certain commitment with certain things, great. If you've been working at your job for 30 years and you say, hey, I want to go to Walmart, greet folks at the door, put a sticker on their chest, that's great.
Right.
But if you say, hey, I don't retire and I still got to work out, I'm at Walmart trying to get some OT. Yeah, I'm out there at the corner 285 selling gift baskets and all that. And I ain't retired.
Okay.
You getting a check, but you ain't retired. Okay. So really it depends on really what all kind of commitments you got in regards to defining retirement from my perspective. And everybody got different things they can look at and stuff like that.
And what age do general age? I heard the general consensus of age of retirement is 67 now, maybe even 70, when it used to be 65 and 63. Is that what you think it is, the retirement age?
I don't put no age on it.
Okay. Because I really wanted to be retired at 23, but things didn't work out.
You play 5-6 years in the pro football for 5-6 years, and you got to work the rest of your life.
Right.
If you work it right. So I think it's just really coming to the point where you got everything taken, in perspective. You got people work, they 67 years old, but they still not prepared.
Right.
They still got, they just got a new house. They got the grandbabies living with them. They got a new car and everything, and they paying off bills like they 20-something, 30-something years old.
Well,
so
I know I just read your outline and all this stuff I'm asking you is in the outline. So let you go on with your outline.
You good.
Let him do his show.
Yeah, let me do your show.
I wouldn't have no show if it wasn't for DJ Lab. Ask on, brother. But but I will say this too. That wasn't a question on my outline
Okay.
in regards to retirement. So I'm glad you did ask that.
Okay.
That was a good question. But in regards to what we're talking about, even with the how much money do you need to have saved for retirement, this is what I look at. Before we start going into all the numbers, what I think three fundamental things I think everybody have based on what's your goal. That's the first question you ask yourself. What is your goal? Mm-hmm. So you want to get a retirement? Let's take everything out. What is your goal? And the goals you sit there and look at, is it something in terms of legacy, living lifestyle, or a combination of both? Mm-hmm. Okay, so and those kind of things, we're going to circle back to everything, get from a definition standpoint, and the factors that determine what you're going to be able to do in regards to those three are set on your age, the income you're making, mm-hmm. and your personality and discipline. Okay? Mm-hmm. So let's run through everything to kind of get an explanation with that. So we start talking about what do you need saved up for retirement. When I say we're looking at your goals, mm-hmm. goals, when we start, the first thing when I say like legacy, that's when people are sitting there looking at like, okay, I want to have generational wealth. I want to have, this money for my children. It sounds all good. You have people talking about, hey, look, I want to have everybody set for life, and they're thinking about whatever. And it's less about them. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to give this disclaimer before I get to talking too much. I don't feel any perspective or any goal is right. Mm-hmm. It's all about what you want. Because, hell, you the one that's working. Okay. So I'm not going to put one past the other. Okay. But we're just going to go through the different goals. I think these are basic goals that you can have with retirement, and how we're going to work towards making those goals happen. So like I said, the first one being legacy. Like I said again, that's when people looking above themselves. You hear everybody saying that, I'm looking for the name, I want to have this, that, and that, and, set up, and the kids set up and all that kind of stuff. And it's great because, again, from a perspective of looking like, hey, man, my grandpa set us up, we did this kind of stuff. It's great to have it. Also, it can be a situation where grandpa can set up, didn't teach nobody how to keep it, and everybody done lost it, and, right. That quick. Either way it happens. But, again, I'll go back to my disclaimer. I'm not saying any way is right. So, again, we're looking at that first one being legacy, just having stuff set up for your heirs, for everybody up under you, the future, your name, and everything like that, okay? The second one is just straight living in lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Now, what I mean by that is, your total focus is you finna get ready to go do some traveling. Right. You finna go play bingo. You finna go. What little Johnny? I don't give a what. You just, no. Don't keep them kids over here. Don't come bother me. Right. You finna go travel. You and your old lady finna get a Winnebago. Y'all finna just, you know what I'm saying? You see people all the time. They saying, okay, this is what I want to do in retirement. Okay, again, the first one we said legacy. Now we talk about living in lifestyle. Right. The only thing you focus on is you. Right. We just traveling. Maybe you and your significant other, you doing a thing. You're going to go hang with your grandkids. You're going to go visit your old friends from college, your Army, Navy buddies. That's all you're concerned with. Right. What you going to do for you. Right. Or you and your significant other. That's all you're concerned about. Again, we talking about the goals of retirement. Okay. First being legacy. Second being, that living. Again, it's no right or wrong on whatever way you want to do it. Okay. People pitch different things to do in retirement for people because they're selling a product. Right. To do it. But you got to be mindful of what you want, because you're the one living. Okay. So you spend all this time trying to want to get this legacy together for everybody, and you like, damn, ain't nobody give a dang about me. I just want to chill. So like I said, your whole focus on what you finna do. Just like this is it. Everything that you've put off in the past and all that kind of stuff, you finna go do it. You see the guy, he hit 60. Now he done got a tattoo. He done got his ear pierced. Yeah. Yeah. You go see grandma at the nail shop, you get a nipple pierced. Hey, they living. They living. We don't poke arms around here. Again, it's the dollar hour. They living. It's just having a good time and stuff. So those are the kind of things you sit there looking. My homegirl Star said she needs $5.5 million for retirement. Now, Star, after you look at this show, I want you to kind of just think about my perspective. Cause I tell you what, if you got 5.5 at retirement, hey, your brother Poochie come move in with you. Immediately.
Let me ask a question. Under living, should there be a spot called common living? Like, just, you don't have to go to work, but you maintaining your house, your mortgage, everything's good. Your light bill, water bill, all that stuff's good. Not the trips and stuff. We're gonna call that living high, I guess. But we're gonna call it just common living. You don't have to get up and go to work. Don't get me wrong, but everything within the perspective of you're maintaining your living, sure, that I can cut on the light bill if I ain't go get up and go to work in the morning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, and you know what? We're gonna kind of look a little bit deeper than we doing, say, Social Security.
Okay.
You know, and everything.
Yeah.
You know, which I think the vast majority start saying I'm good for that. That's what I'm talking about. We're gonna kind of look past, like, you know, if we're looking at basically people just kind of looking at Social Security and whatever. And that we're talking about it. You're looking at whatever past, you know, retirement. You know, what are your goals with that and everything like that. But you know, to your point, yeah, you do want to make sure all this stuff included with it, whichever one of these three goals that we're talking about.
Okay.
Okay. And now we're going to the third one, which is a combination of both. Well, we're looking at generational, and also looking to make sure that you're out there living your best life too.
Okay.
Okay. And I think that's where, theoretically, I think that's what most people want to be.
Right.
You know, I got my kids straight, and I got everything set up with my kids and everything. You know, grandbabies need something, I got them covered. You know, everybody like saying they got some college fund for their grandkids.
Right.
They done saved up $5,000. They can't do it and buy them a damn book.
Right.
And, you know, by the time, you know, they got that going and everything. Then, you know, okay, cool, but they actually able to go, you know, on a trip to the dog race. Go to Alabama, go watch the dog races.
Right.
You know, go on a little trip with your with your church members and stuff and everything. They got some, they want to go take 8-day cruises.
Right.
So again, that combination of both, where you kind of looking at, okay, this is what I want to have. Again, we just talk about initially when we start talking about how much money you want to retire, but you got to kind of look at what your goals are. Remember, before you look into it, though, that disclaimer I gave, neither one of them is the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? In regards to if you want to actually, you know, just straight up have this legacy stuff set up, or if you just want to make sure, you know, you're just doing you, or if you want to have a combination of both. It's really what you want. Because I'm going to say this too, you look at it, everybody is not close with their family.
That's true.
Everybody ain't close with their family. So, you know, it's kind of understood if you ain't really breaking your neck to leave stuff for this, that, and that. Everybody is not, you know, equipped to do certain things or even care, you know. So, you know, I don't think you need to get bogged down trying to do certain things. I think people, especially when we have children in particular, as you get older and your children get older, you get a good grasp of knowing if your children are going to be responsible or not and everything. Especially, that's one of the things, especially in the black community, I think we do a bad job of those wheels. Because we know the one that's going to take care of this. We know the one that ain't. We know the one that's going to boogie it all up. And we don't sit down and have them conversations with them. Like, hey, man, look, you know,
We know what's
I'm going to be dead one day. So let's kind of talk. You know, you tell me what y'all want.
Right.
And we'll see what we can work backwards from there. And I just don't think we do a good enough job about that. And we get caught up so much in we want to do this and want to have this stuff set up. But why you going to leave all this stuff to him you know he ain't going to take care of it?
Right.
And you know she ain't going to do right.
Right.
But you know that one right there, he probably going to do that, or he probably make sure he in charge of it. Get everybody how they feeling. I think the best way to try to handle that is what? Be proactive and let folks know
Hey.
this is what's going to happen.
Whether you like it or not.
You know, okay, yeah, exactly.
Right.
You know,
Do you think you need a will if you ain't got one child?
I think you need a will for anything. I think you need a will for anything. Now, that's a good question because a lot of things that you don't be thinking about, and that's why it's so important talking to an attorney getting a will drafted. Things you don't think of pop up and everything. I'm trying to think of a scenario off the top of my head, but even just having one child, there are certain things that you probably can have set up in your will that they don't have to deal with. You know, you can jump some different levels of probate, make sure it's straight. But those kind of things, you know, and if you don't have stuff like that set up, it's easier with one because a lot of times, it's, you know, depending what state you in, I know even with Georgia, it'll fall right to that next heir. Yeah, but definitely if you got multiple kids, I mean, you can get stuff tangled in probate for years.
Right.
And by the time you get everything settled, you know, everybody done lost all kind of money. You know, I seen a documentary on Johnny Taylor. He had 5 kids, and he had 4 kids with his wife, and he had 2 kids from they said they were his kids that came up. And long story short, by the time they had did all the blood tests and everything came back, I mean, it was like a $2 million estate. And by the time everybody ended up getting like a $5,000 check.
No,
And the sad part about it, his daughter that he had with his wife wasn't his.
Oh, Lord.
The last $2, boy. God, dog. Hey, she was the main one fight. Like Star said, you need a will. And she was the main one fighting my daddy.
Right.
I can't be my daddy kids.
She wasn't the daddy kid.
Boy. Oh, JT, boy. JT. Again, this is the Dollar Hour. Thanks for tuning in. Tonight we're talking about how much money do you need to have saved for retirement. And make sure you go to Mr. Short Dollar and subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Facebook page. Check us out on TikTok. Again, that's Mr. Short Dollar, where we talk about personal finance, business, entrepreneurship, and real estate investing. What we just went over is the first part of thinking about getting everything set up in retirement, looking at what are your goals. And again, we said those goals are, number one, if you want to set up a legacy, if you just want to just make sure you set up with a certain lifestyle, or the third one, if you want a combination of both. Okay? Now, what we're going to get into the factors that's going to determine if you could do either one of those. Okay? And those factors is the first thing, your age. Okay? Your age is very important. You know, like I said, my undergrad is in finance, and that's all we talked about as far as investing. The age is so important because the age, we have what we call in finance your investment horizon. Your investment horizon is from the age you are to the age you feel like you want to retire. So that's going to determine if you're 25 and you want to retire at 65, you got 40 years for your investment horizon happen. Mm-hmm. You have to be realistic at the age you are to the age you want to retire. Do you have enough time to do certain things? Mm-hmm. Or what can you do between that time? You can't decide at age 50 that you want to sit here, you want to retire in 15 years, and you want to save up $100,000. Right. Do you really have enough time? Well, you can do it, but you got to be realistic. If you get the other factors are going to suffice, we're going to get to those. But you have to be realistic for what you're trying to do. How much time do you have? Mm-hmm. That age is very, very, very important because when we look at a lot of investment products, I see a lot of people getting invested in stocks and stuff like that, which is cool. I'm never going to stop people, tell people don't invest, but you got to be realistic about you're missing the biggest component we start about investing, we call compound interest. Mm-hmm. And the two biggest factors with compound interest, you have the interest rate, but you also got time, the rate and the time. So you're able over a certain amount of time to see everything accrue and get bigger. There you go, start Rule 72. And at the end of the day, when you sit there, you don't have that time to do that, you got to be realistic. Mm-hmm. I ain't got up to 10 years. Can I realistically do that? So that age is very, very, very important. And it's not an issue of you can't save for retirement if you start later. When I say later, 45 to over 50, and you're trying to retire in your 60s, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that you got to find the product or the vehicle that you need to use. Mm. That's what you got to look at. What you may want to do may not be realistic for what you're trying to do. Okay, so that first factor is age. The second one is very important. That's income. Do you have enough money that you can put to the side? That's one thing about it. People say, okay, we'll put in 8% and match that up and stuff and say you can't afford. Man, you already robbing Peter pay Paul. You already checked the check. Can you even do this kind of stuff? Right. So you have to sit here and just look at your income and be realistic. We're looking at the time. Do I got enough money to put to the side after I've paid my living expenses now to be trying to do that? Right. You got to sit here and just take all that stuff in consideration. And, what's your situation? Because you can be on a fixed income. Mm-hmm. And you sitting there doing that. People come to me, I got a disability coming in. I can do it. I'm trying to put this inside. Like, okay, cool. What part of that still goes back after you paid your living expenses? What can you put to the side? Right. Again, this does not mean you can't invest. It just determines the investment product you have to use. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's the thing about it, because a person be painting this great picture about, you can get into day trading and doing this stuff. That just might not be the best thing for the amount of money you got coming in. Mm. You might not need to do that. And I will tell you right now, I'm a firm believer. Black people, I'm being very honest with you, because, majority of my audience is, black. And I'm just, that's part of my main demographic. If you don't have any money, you do not need to be investing in stock. You need to be damn investing in you. Right. Just straight up. If you don't have any damn money, you do not need to be investing no damn stock. This come from Mr. Short Dollar. I've been 20 years in the finance industry. You do not need to be doing that if you know you're in a check to check situation, your finances are tight. You need to be investing in you. Once
First
you,
thing they gonna do,
exactly,
cash it in.
exactly, exactly. You invest in you, gain some knowledge, then start doing that.
Right.
But you know where in the hell, man, I'm talking all the time, people that get that income tax refund, stimulus. Boy, they got them stimulus check came out, but folk was just like, oh man, then them idle loans and PPP.
Right.
Mm.
Now I know a lot of people that got $10,000, and we just heard last night somebody got $1 million.
Mm.
Cause they had a tax business or something, so they got $1 million.
Well, I know who didn't get $1 million with tax business. I can tell you that right now. Who did not get that million? I know right now. Because Miss Short Dollar won't be right here talking right now. How you want to retire? I'll be retired.
Like right now.
But, that income is so important. You got to be realistic about what you got coming in, going out, and all that kind of stuff, because they're going to dictate a lot of stuff. Again, I want to just keep putting the emphasis on it. That does not mean you cannot invest. It just means that dictates what you're going to be able to invest in. And the third thing, this is super, super, super important, because this goes into investing, dieting, living, whatever. How disciplined a person are you? Are you going to be the type of person that, like you just said, like look, Slick just said, as soon as you get an opportunity, something happen, you cashing it in.
Right.
Are you going to be religiously doing this all the time and living around, we say pay yourself first. You paying yourself first knowing that you're going to be uncomfortable after you done paid yourself. Are you going to be that disciplined of a saver or whatever? That ain't you to do it. Do you need to have some kind of automatic system set up? Do you have, I told one of my sons, he wanted PJ to finger at leave. Hey, man, I said, what helped me was I had an account I ain't had no access to.
Right.
And they put my money in. I had no ATM access to it. And they pulled my money and it just
That's what
did
I
it
had with
like
my
that.
with my retirement.
Ex-
To the point I had forgot about it. Until I left, I left the job and they were like,
Here your
"Got
money."
this money." I was like, "Woo."
Forgot all about it.
I forgot all about it, but it was automatically coming
Exactly.
out of my check. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just so I had to set up so I was like, I don't even know about it.
And it come up right when you need it. That's how
Right.
it is all the time. But that's what I'm saying. You need to be realistic about how your personality is. Are you going to be disciplined enough to be doing that and everything? And if you're not, and there's nothing wrong. I think the best thing that anybody can do is be honest with themselves.
Right.
You don't feel bad. Well, man, I'm not good with that. That's why, again, that's why we got accountability partners. That's why that's why we go to Weight Watchers. So everybody can sit here and pep each other on and do all that kind of stuff. It's not a knock on anything. You know what I'm saying? You just have to just be.
See, I know, like, I can do budgets and stuff with companies that I work for, millions of dollars of budgets that way. But when it comes to just a regular budget for me, I'm not good at that.
Exactly.
I know I'm not good at it. I do not. I know this, but I can go to the job and say them millions of dollars.
Well, you don't have the same sense of urgency because that's your job.
Right.
And everything like that. And that's nothing uncommon. But I just think people just aren't realistic about.
I'm realistic,
how,
100%. Like, I ain't good with that. Like, I'll deal with it when it come around. My man, is what I say.
Amazing.
But
I sit there with a piece of paper and pimp all night. Write some stuff down, see what gotta go well.
yeah. I'm the person that's gonna check his bank account before he go in the store, and then I'm not gonna write it down. I'm just gonna let that bank take care of it.
Sometimes we just gonna roll the dice.
I'm just gonna roll the dice.
You for real?
If it go through, it do. If it don't, he be like, damn.
Okay. I didn't need that.
Let me put that back. I'm putting that roast right there at the rest of the side.
Right.
Nah, I got you. But hey,
But I know I'm that person, so you know what I'm saying?
you live accordingly.
Exactly.
I got you. And like I said, we just went across the three factors in determining. Well, again, we went over first the actual goals, but then we looked over the factors that determine if you can make those goals happen. That being your age, the income amount that you got coming in, and the third one being your discipline, your personality and discipline level, okay? Those three things, again, the goals we got, but then those three factors are going to determine how you're going to be able to make things happen. Again, the age, the income, and then your personality, your discipline level, okay? Again, this is Mr. Short Dollar. We'll talk tonight's show. Mr. Short Dollar is the Dollar Hour. Tonight we're talking about how much money do you need to have saved at retirement, okay? Make sure you go to Mr. Short Dollar. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and subscribe to the channel. Also on TikTok at Mr. Short Dollar. Also, I lose track of everything. I'm sorry, talking too fast. But make sure you subscribe to all the different platforms we're on. Now, here's the thing about it. We went over the goals. We went over the factors. Determine the goals. Now we got to do the most important thing. Put it all together. Okay? This is what we got to kind of look at. And again, like I said again, people just scrambling all the time. Well, I want to have this, I want to have that. Star just threw out she need 5.5 and everything. So we sit there and say to ourselves, wow, that's a number. And people throw numbers out. I got to have this. I want to say this and that. Now we got to sit here and go back to this is where I come in. This is my expertise. What for?
Right.
Let's find this number. What do you need it for? So what we're going to do now, we're going to look at those different goals and how do we put it all together, making it happen, determining by them factors, okay? So let's start at first when we're talking about legacy. So we're talking about legacy when we're saying what? It's all about what? It's us. I mean, all about everybody in the future and everything like that. So from that point, if you're going to look at, I want to make this straight for my future heirs, what do you have to do? Okay, what dollar amount is that? How do you get that number? And the way you get that number, you say you want to set for that, you have to combine all those future expenses that come in after your death.
Okay.
Okay? So now what we got to make sure we're looking at is where your current, like what Lab even said, current, when you're talking about that legacy, we were talking about that you got everything for you to survive and plus everything for the future. So we talking about we already understood that we already talking about what our living expenses, right? But we're also talking about mortgages and everything getting taken care of. We're trying to make sure all the tuition and everything is getting taken care of for us and whoever heirs afterward for our kids and our kids' kids. And also that will make sure that we can afford people a certain lifestyle.
Okay.
Like the Waltons. The Waltons are set up pretty good, ain't they?
Right.
They living pretty good, man.
Most people want to be selling like the Rothschilds.
Do they still go in the stores? Do they even go in the stores?
Who?
The Waltons. Do they even go there?
I don't think. You know what? You talking about? Oh, yeah, you talking about the Waltons for the Walmart?
General store in town, but it wasn't no
Not that Walton.
Toast.
She ain't talking about that.
No, not Waltons. I'm talking about the Walmart. The Waltons.
People who own Walmart.
Yeah, I'm talking about the
I don't
Waltons.
think they go to the store. I think they send people.
They send people there.
I mean, you think about it.
They
probably think about it. They don't even go. I don't even think they shop at.
I'm wondering, are they even affiliated with the business?
Oh yeah.
Oh, they still are. Okay,
Yeah,
they CEO. I got you. They on board. I got you.
They still on the board. Like I think one of them is not the CEO, but recently retired from CEO. But they have a lot of other businesses. You know what I'm saying? So, I think they very much still affiliated. You got to stay affiliated with your 80% income.
I got you, but but you have some families they don't.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean,
you think the Queen do anything with England?
No, she's just a figurehead.
You think
figurehead? Yeah.
Prince Harry and all them do anything with England?
They just a figurehead.
Absolutely not. I don't know, man. Oh no, though I said but I didn't know in their case and everything. But that's the thing about it. When you're talking about from a legacy standpoint, you have to be planning for all that kind of stuff.
I think he's playing real well,
And they got lucky too.
Yeah.
And everything, that and that helps a lot. We won't discredit that, but we work hard and stuff. You're gonna need a little luck to pop in and everything. But that legacy perspective, you have to be thinking about that. Right. So when we start thinking about what number you got, you just have to be kind of adding all that kind of stuff, and that's gonna help you figure out that number. I do want to let everybody know we're not giving out a particular number like 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. I'm just trying to get you to know how to find that number.
Your number.
So you're not just throwing out any kind of arbitrary thing. Because the thing that you think you may need, you may not even need that. Right. But when you start talking about this legacy stuff, and then you start thinking like, man, I got to get a couple $1 million saved up to set up. Then you be like, man, do I love my son that much?
Yeah. I was just thinking like that.
We had a conversation about $1 million is not as much as it used to be.
Right. $1 million is like what, 650,000 now, somewhere in there.
Oh no, I'll take it.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it. Well, I think there was a story one time with a guy who had a bunch of money. He died, and right at the end of right before he died, he spent every dime of his money. He spent every dime of his money, and then he left, and the will said something like, "I ain't never liked none of y'all no way." Y'all gonna have to figure it out like I did, or something was said, something like that. But he had enough money where he could have set up everybody.
Well, that's kind of like those Gates and all them Promise Keepers,
Yeah.
giving away 90%, 99% of their
I don't
wealth.
believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that because he just keeps getting richer and richer. I don't believe that. I believe that they said it after they already set their kids up for the future. You get what I'm saying? You can say I'm gonna give away 99% of my wealth, and I already got $7-8 billion for each one of your childs put away somewhere. You get what I'm saying?
I get it. I get it and everything. No, I get it and everything. Them real rich people problems. Boy, I tell
rich
you.
people problem. Real rich people
Yeah.
problem.
If I can deal with them, I take it over.
them meet with the president people problem.
There you go.
I can do that.
But you know, with the legacy, that's why, I think people need to be kind of looking at it in terms of just can you, all those future planners that you're looking to have, can you be able to cover that? That's the thing, those to get that number. Like I said, the mortgages, the tuitions, all the living and things like that, all that stuff gotta kind of be calculated. If I want to have my kids have this, all that stuff need to be set up. You get that number, add in, $300,000-$400,000 per child. This is what they're gonna need over time for their college tuitions. They need houses. You've all get like $100,000-$200,000 adding all in, and from that point, that's what you need to be doing in terms of like this is what I'm trying to build from this legacy I'm trying to have for retirement. Okay, big task, but some people can do it. The second thing we're gonna go to, the second goal, we talk about living. Living kind of tricky. Here's the thing: we say living. The living in you have to be aware of the expenses at retirement, not necessarily the expenses that you currently have. We start talking about living. Because we talk about with living, we're like, okay, I want to go sail the 7 seas. And what people got to understand is that, well, you can say that, well, I'll be straight because the house be paid off, I ain't got a car and nothing like that. But your damn medical expenses done damn triple.
Right.
Because you getting your foot checked, your ear checked, all kind of stuff checked that you forgot was on your body. And medication and all that kind of stuff. Different things happen.
Right.
So you got to be realistic about when you're not when you get a retirement age, you start talking about from the living perspective, what's going to shift. And again, like I said, a lot of expenses have decreased because you got a retirement age, but some stuff done popped up now you weren't even thinking about.
Right.
That geriatric care, the medical bills and stuff like that. You might start joining different kind of organizations and stuff like that. I mean, different things going to pop up, and you just got to make sure that you can cover those.
Right.
And if you can do that, you should be fine. But those are the kind of things we got to kind of make sure. Because, again, now you start having things pop up like long-term care, elderly care, and all that kind of stuff and everything. You may want to go into, not assisted living. Is assisted living what they have?
Well, they have not assisted
Those ones like by
old
2 or
folks,
3.
no,
No, ain't that. No.
Retirement villages.
Yeah, exactly. And it's say you're one of the elite ones.
Right.
Where you paying almost $100,000 a year and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. They all up in Buckhead and stuff. And okay, so you setting yourself up to be, those kind of things you got to set up when we start talking about your lifestyle. Because you may be like, okay, I ain't studying my kids.
I ain't cutting no
I ain't
bread,
worried about this,
doing
that, and that. I'm finna do me. Now you doing you. You got your Winnebago. You going to check it out the grandkids and stuff like that. But are you able to cover that lifestyle of time? Because what's happening, always keep in mind, that's at that point, everything coming out. Ain't nothing coming in.
That's exactly the point.
So you got to sit here and make sure that in retirement, like, look, we just doing it, and everything. And you just got to make sure you got the vehicles in place to kind of cover that. Again, we're talking about that living goal in regards to retirement. Tonight's show, again, this is the Dollar Hour. We're talking about how much money you need to save in retirement. We just went over the first 2 goals, that being legacy and the second one being living, And I think that living one, that's why I think a lot of times people kind of discredit. I think a lot of times people get into retirement, they're so focused on what they'll have paid off, but they don't give a lot of thought to what they will be incurring. Because I definitely don't believe people that are in the late 50s, early 60s are thinking about the increase of medical until it's right there.
No.
And or even just, like I said, even just different kind of geriatric care they may need and stuff. But they're focused on house paid off, car paid off and everything, all the kids grown.
So you don't know what's going to lock up on you when you get old. You don't know what's going to lock up on you when you get old.
And really be honest with you, it even had me thinking about it, once you start assisting the family member that gets older.
Right.
You don't mind, but it's expensive.
Right.
Not only expensive, it's time consuming and everything. You don't mind because that's your family.
Right.
But again, that's just...
It's an extra expense.
Exactly. And that's one thing I think I want people to kind of be taking into consideration when we start talking about the actual living goal. Make sure that you put in perspective the actual other expenses that come up, even when those other ones disappear that you may be dealing with now. The third goal we'll put together, we talk about that combination of both, and that's where you got to actually know all the amount to cover all your future and current living expenses, right? And again, we're talking about future expenses. Those expenses are things that come up. Excuse me. Those expenses are debts that come up after you die. So again, we talking about a combination of both. Can you cover yourself in retirement and also setting yourself up and have this legacy for your family afterwards and stuff like that? Let's keep it real. If you're actually, going off your pension and stuff like that, it ain't gonna happen.
Right.
If you got, I think the best route to be going in terms of trying to even build towards that, depending on what kind of income you have. And that's why I say income is so important. If you've been on a certain job, just say you've been there 30, 40 years, and you've been actually, making, say you tap out around about 70, 80, 90, 100,000, right? I mean, if you make more than $100,000 a year, you could still be, sliding that way and everything, but you still need to be kind of planning in terms of we looking at what expenses you're going to be covering in life after retirement, also building up with that. One of the safest things I tell people, instead of you trying to save $1 million, why don't you just buy your $1 million life insurance policy? Again, you sit here and you can be trying to break your neck to actually make something happen, and hell, you get you a nice little premium and just pay that.
Right.
And I think you'll cover yourself a whole lot quicker that you can have yourself set up and then you have enough money to take care of everybody. Now, you try to get a $1 million life insurance policy and your head already falling off, you're going to have a high-ass premium that you ain't go back. That's a little different, right? But it's being realistic. Again, what we're talking about trying to do, I think you need to give a little bit more thought to it and actually trying to break your neck to try to save up all this kind of money. Because a lot of times people get in these investment groups and they look at the thing of, because again, with the market, again, like I said, preface this, I'm a quantitative person, got an undergrad in finance, a master's in supply chain. So I'm a numbers nerd. So you see those little peaks and valleys with investing, the market going up, the market going down. The market's going to go down, but again, it's going to come up. History tells us that, right? The problem comes up when the market goes up and down. We go by that investment horizon. Where you're at right now between the time you got to retire, are you going to have enough peaks and valleys? And when it's time for you to retire, are you going to be in a valley? Okay, because from January to May of this year, we was in Death Valley.
Right.
So you done put in all this money in your account, and you sitting there like, dang, now it's time for you to go. Exactly. So now you got to wait maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years for it just to restore you back the way you were.
Right.
And if you don't have that kind of time to play with, you don't need to be playing them type of games.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's where you sit there and say, okay, well, I got a little money to the side. If I want to invest it, I do that. But that can't be your bread and butter. When you're anywhere from that 10 years out from retirement, you do not need to be dealing with stocks. You just need to have all that portfolio shifted into saving bonds or something. You just need to be accruing interest. You spend the previous 20, 30 years gambling.
Right.
Once you get into that little down trick, hey, no, because you don't have the time. You don't have the time to rebound from a disaster. And that's why I said, well, again, we're going off that investment horizon. I might be stretching with 10, definitely 5, but I say 10.
Right.
Yeah, you're 10 years out from retirement, when the hell, and everything should be doing that. But again, if you got some little play money, whatever. But those are the kind of things I think people need to be looking at. Again, if you want to have that combination of both, you got to be realistic about, when we talk about those factors, being the income, your age, and also your discipline level. Can you sit there and do that kind of stuff? And again, it does not mean that you don't need to invest. I'm always pro investing with people, but always take those factors in mind: age, income, and your discipline level.
Right.
If you know you ain't gonna be consistently putting that stuff, don't play with it. Don't do it. Find something else to do. I got a course coming out soon to let everybody know. If it's gonna be a free webinar, I'm gonna give it out to everybody. I'll make it a free webinar. We ain't gonna charge for that. And it's gonna be what we're talking about at different ages in life, what you need to be investing in. So we'll go through the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, what you need to be getting there. So be on the lookout for that. I might make that come out in October too, but that's gonna be a free webinar.
Okay.
At first. So,
all the time.
Shit, man, I gave free appointments for 4 or 5 months, man. I can
Right.
probably, man,
Kinda
I'm
one hand.
disappointed, man.
How many people came
It-
through?
it's
Right.
more than that, but I'm disappointed for it to be free.
Right.
You know, how many people didn't take advantage of it and everything. So, again, you just can't consistently want to do that for people. So, again, we just went over, again, this is the Dollar Hour hosted by yours truly, Deonte Burden. I'm about to say something for another show. But today, this show is Mr. Short Dollar, and we're part of the Dollar Hour, where we talked about how much money do you need to have saved in retirement. Went through the 3 main goals that you need to have, where we talk about legacy, you know, if you want to have a lifestyle, or if you want a combination of both. We also went over then the factors that determine how you can make those happen, and being the age you are, the income you have coming in, or your level of discipline. And then we went over the different ways that you got to, you know, put it all together to make it happen. Okay? Got a question?
Let me ask a question.
Sure, what's happening?
We got a little bit of time.
Okay.
How do you tell them? How do you suggest they go about trying to figure out their number?
Okay. We right there too.
Okay.
That was next.
I mean, I see start with a number. I want you to kind of give them an idea. How do they come up? Like you give an idea, like when you talk about starting a business, that a lot of people think they need to start a business, need to make a certain amount of money, and all they need to do is maintain what their living expenses now. You get what I'm saying on that
Gotcha.
business. So I want you to give them a perspective of how do they come up with their number. Like you said, they might be thinking about they need to Winnebago and all this other stuff, and they might not even need that. So they just, you know, add it up and see what they need.
Well, it comes down, good question. It comes down to, when I say start with a number, you add up all your costs. And the way you're going to add up all your costs, you got an idea what you want to do. So if you sit down and say, okay, I know in retirement I want to pay, you make sure this house is paid off, or I want to make sure, if you figure, okay, I'm 60 years old, I plan on, we're going to roll the dice, say live to 80.
Okay.
You know that your mortgage or groceries, whatever you know that you're going to be on the hook for paying for, is going to be that each month. You add that up, multiply that time 20. I mean, time 12, then multiply that time 20.
Okay.
Okay? So you know your monthly living expense, what you're going to need. What you and your significant other, you going to, you know, going to need, you know, all your monthly medication, maybe adding a couple here and there and stuff. You know what that number is. We got a good guesstimate of that, right?
Okay.
Multiply that time 12, multiply that time 20.
Okay.
So that's my ballpark number I need to live. Because I figure, okay, now if I get past 80 years old, we just going to do a GoFundMe.
If I live past 80, it is what it is.
There you go.
Well, let me ask you a question. Should you add the utilities and multiply that by 12?
Well, all that's included.
Okay.
All that's included. Just straight living expenses. Utilities, groceries, if you got a mortgage or whatever.
12 and 20.
Exactly. Now, if
Okay.
you know the mortgage going to be paid a couple years after retirement, factor that in. Do that just for how many years that is, whatever. But you can actually get you a ballpark number, what you're probably going to have to live off of.
Okay.
Okay? Now, if you want to factor in, you know, adding a new girlfriend, add a new boyfriend, new husband expenses to it, you can make those adjustments. But just a basic number where you're saying we're doing that.
They own by that time.
Huh?
Hopefully they come with their own by that time.
Well, you know.
If I'm 65, we talking about going together and being boyfriend and girlfriend, and you ain't decided as decided what you gonna do for your life or decide how you gonna live later on.
It sounds good.
We don't need to be talking.
I thought you said they do it early.
I get it, but I'm just saying. Man.
No, I think that people don't sit down and give too much thought, and they leave it.
Nobody wants to think about death.
Well,
Nobody wants to think about dying and leaving.
Well,
leaving this planet.
I agree with that, but take death out the equation. Let's just talk about basic retirement. People, like, and I say this a lot, people, I call it intentional ignorance. People stay dumb to it on purpose. You don't want to sit down and give thought to, like I just said. You asked me a question, I told you, look, your living expenses, the mortgage, the utilities, the groceries, medication, car note. If you still got that every month, times 12, times 20, times 30, right? That's on you. You don't want to do that. Why? Because you all want to say, I didn't know, I didn't care.
Right.
And you somehow feel that way. Because you said, I didn't know, wasn't thinking about it, that gets it off you.
Right, it's not your responsibility.
Exactly. So you can always use that cop-out, I really didn't know. Because a lot of times people tell you certain things in terms of, you can have this amount of money saved up. Because I want to make this show, because so many people get that advice and tell people they need to have so much money saved up. But who the hell say you need $2.5 million? Now, Star just said she need $5.5 million. Now, again, my question gonna be with Star, because that's my system. Like, What do you need that for?
Right.
And she can sit here and say, well, look, I just threw a number out. Or she may say, well, Poochie, I need it for pop, 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 pop. I get it.
Right.
But that's why I would say we got to kind of work backwards what we want. Because, again, if you're looking from a legacy perspective, you're thinking big picture for other people.
Mm-hmm.
You got yourself covered, but you want to leave this lasting thing for everybody else. You're thinking living. I mean, they cool.
Right.
All my kids got a degree. I paid for them to go to school.
Right.
They got themselves or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to leave them that old Chevy he asked about. I'm just saying. So, that, you know, he might be content with that.
Right.
But, again, you know, we arbitrarily, people just say certain things. And you got to kind of be realistic
Right.
about, you know, because what you trying to do may not even work out. And what you trying to do also may not, is it even worth that?
Right.
Because you can spend so much time on me, sound funny. I mean, a close friend of mine, this is a true story. He died of cancer about 7 years ago. And I just remember, me, I'm same age, man, he 40. Came in 43, King died when he was probably about 35, 36. Long story short, I know personally from when we were in the Army, and he was a police officer in Houston, he was saving up dang near $500 a month. Excuse me. So I know he left $100,000 cash for his son. He died. His son's probably like, a little more, probably 10th, 11th grade when he died. Had all this money in his life insurance policy. He was a police officer.
Right.
The mother went through that money
Quick.
I mean, it was like a game show.
Well, wow.
So all the money he left in insurance, all the money he left for his son,
Cash.
gone. Not even 2 damn years.
Wow.
And so again, sometimes we sit here and try to build this damn thing that, you know, make sure we got, you know, somebody that can drive that thing afterwards.
Right.
Because a lot of times I can sit here and just say, well, look, I'm trying to get these businesses to my son. If I don't do a good job of teaching my sons, or most importantly, if my sons don't even want to deal with it,
Right.
what am I building this for? And I've had a couple older gentlemen, you know, really like, you know, one cat, I don't want to say his name, he might be listening to the show, but I remember he told me he had built like this whole empire for his son. You know, they were cutting and doing hair, and his son just wanted to get a job. I said, man, he told me he slept in that salon for dang 2 weeks. He had got built everything up, ready for such and sons, and it just devastated him. I have not one of my 4 boys said they have any interest in doing accounting.
Oh, okay.
Not one. Not one. Now, I know them. They'll get tired of working for other folks. So I know.
Right.
Daddy here, but when I try to get it to you, I'm gonna get it to you. I gotta sell it to you now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you know,
There's a
just
price
being,
attached to it now. Yeah.
Exactly. But you know, just being real, I think that's what people have to also look at too. How you prepping your kids for the future. But I'm glad you asked that in regards to that, because that number, I think if everybody start with that number dictates everything. Because that number tells you what, at your age, can you do it? At your income level, can you do it? And at your discipline level, can you do it? Can I really get to this number? Because all the videos are the same, all the groups.
Right.
This amount of money at this rate,
age.
you can have this saved
Yeah.
up. Yeah, that's cool.
No matter what your age.
Exactly. No. Because if you had that ability and that discipline, you done did something already.
True.
You might not have had that number, but you already been on that track, right?
Right.
And a lot of times people don't have that discipline to do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. You just got to find it, because you can do automatic draft. You have other people, you know, just get. I mean, we're in an information age. Technology is so advanced now. You really don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. They have so many different things in place that all the investment can be done for you, all the thinking is done for you. You just got to, yeah, exactly. You can adjust certain things and stuff. So you just got to just make sure you're on the right edge, right side of everything, okay? And that's the biggest thing. Again, this is the Dollar Hour, hosted by, you know, me, Mr. Short Dollar himself, Deonte Burden. Tonight's show, we'll be talking about how much money you need to have saved in retirement. Just to recap everything, what we talked about with retirement. The 3 main goals you need to make sure you're looking at, that being legacy, the other one being living a certain lifestyle, the third one being, I'm about to go blank, the third one being a combination of both. And then we start talking about the factors that determine what you can do. Those factors being the actual income you have coming in, your discipline level, and also the amount of time, the age you start, the amount of time you have. I also gave my little blueprint in regards to how to make each one of them three goals happen. So I hope that helped you guys. One of the key things I want to pull what Lab just asked, I'm glad he asked me that, is make sure we start with that number. Find out what that number is, applying those particular goals, applying those different factors, and realistically, can you come up to that? Because again, that's when we start talking about other factors. You might can't buy stocks. You might gotta sit here and go get some runner profits. You might gotta go buy some soda machines. You might gotta actually try to do a little extra work here, start your side hustle to actually build to that number. By the amount of time you got and everything. It's not a right or wrong way. It's just what you decide to do for yourself. You got to make it happen, and you determine what you need to do and what's best for you. Not Deonte, not somebody else. And I think we get caught up in that too much with people telling you to invest in this and invest in that. And if that doesn't fit into your life parameters, it just ain't gonna happen. Right. And a lot of folks just don't want to be realistic about what they can and what they can't do.
People aren't really good at saving money, and I know like right now people really ain't good at saving money.
I think people save is kind of like love. It's just it's one of them words that it's so gray.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gray. It's not black and white. It's gray. So people that ain't realistic about they're not realistic about their saving. They can be putting a certain amount in, or every now and then. But we start talking about discipline saving and investing, putting stuff in. That's not gonna be doing it. So again, putting something to the side, or actually developing, or going to a goal of building, that's still say quote unquote saving, but they not actually have a certain goal or a plan in mind what they're trying to do. So that's why I say it's a great word.
Yeah, I think most people. Now, I'm not saying they're all good at it, but I think most people want to save. A lot of times, when you sit down, especially based on your income, you sit down and you start adding up the save. You're like, man, if I save, people always say, oh, you save $2 a day, 10 years, 5 years, you'll have such.
You'll have $100.
But if that $2 is what I need to get on the bus to get to work, how I'm gonna say that? You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of perspectives, a lot of variables that go into that savings thing. And then some people save and try to save and they may lose their job, or they try to save and need that money because they lost their job. Like recently in the last few months. You get what I'm saying?
You're absolutely right. But we just gave them the blueprint.
Right.
We gave them, you got your goal, and we just gave you the factors, and we just told you how to put it together.
Yeah.
Now you got a comment saying that some people, they got to stop trying to live other lifestyles and live their own lifestyle.
Well,
yeah, I was gonna say that.
Very true.
Well,
because a lot of people got a problem trying to keep up with the Joneses, but you don't know what the hell they doing to keep up with what they got.
Right.
Well, that's probably a little different from what we talking about retirement. That's just straight living.
Part of saving towards it, though.
Yeah.
You can't save towards retirement because you're always trying to keep up, spend money like everybody else, like the people like the Joneses, and you don't have the Joneses money.
Right.
Well, absolutely. But that, like I said, we just gave it a blueprint.
Okay.
So
At the end of
we just seen an example of that the other day when people going somewhere and they struggling trying to go, and I was like, well, shit, what about the bills when we come back? So, yeah, I worry about that.
Well, I tell you what, even with that said, that if you can't even continue with right now, it's gonna be kind of hard to even try to refocus on retirement.
Right.
But that's why I said when you start looking at what you're trying to do, the legacy, the lifestyle, or the combination of both. Once you start looking at the factors, being your age, the income level, and then you talk about your discipline level, that's going to determine everything. You can't sit here and try to do one thing if you don't have the income, the time, or the extra discipline to make that stuff happen. Because we already got our number. We're working backwards from that number with that. So we just gave them the blueprint. Excuse me. No matter your attitude or whatever, we just gave you the blueprint on how to prepare for that. Now, you can apply it to however you are. If you're not a person that's actually going to have discipline, if you're a person that have a lot of money or a little money, we just gave you the blueprint. Now, again, if you want to sit here, if we want to add and say, okay, now from that point, I can't do it, hey, that's when you reach out and say, hey, I need a little further coaching with that. But we just gave them the straight blueprint in regards to that. I think people, you got to be realistic. It's nothing wrong with wanting a lot. It's nothing wrong with having great goals and great expectations. But you still got to be realistic. If I put in $100 a day for X amount of years, At the end of the math, if we take the interest rate out of it, accruing or losing value or whatever, I'm still gonna have it on face value at least this, you know. And I think a lot of times people just don't want to do that kind of homework, you know. So I think if you follow the blueprint, you'll be okay with that, you know, at face value. Then we start talking about want to invest in this, invest in different kind of products. That's a whole different conversation.
That's true.
But we start talking.
401k is a good thing.
I think 401k is a good thing if you. I wouldn't necessarily push 401k if you pass 50. And the only way I say if you push 401k past 50, if you know you're dropping in, you know, $1,500 a month. Because at the end of the day,
In addition to what you get paid?
out of what you got paid.
I know what you got paid.
Because you got to be real.
$1,500 a month out of your salary.
Yeah.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, if you're past 50,
Right.
you got to be realistic of how much money you putting in. Then you talking about, you know, I mean, you're so far behind the 8 ball with doing it.
So you got to go up real aggressive with it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because you're behind the 8 ball.
Right.
And the dangerous part about being aggressive, what you're putting it in, do you really want to be putting it in aggressive investments? Because you on the short end stick, you ain't really got no money to lose.
Right.
So that's why I say now. So what I say that to say, that doesn't mean you don't need to invest. You just probably need to be investing in something else.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you probably need to be investing in some soda machines,
So
some
you
candy
can't-
machines.
You can't save money really when you got credit card bills, huh?
You can save money, but you can be saving money, but that don't mean you got more money saved than more money you owe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, again, that's all about perspective. You have 30,000 saved up, but you can owe 50,000.
Right.
So again, that go back to the person thing. Some people feel confident knowing they got money in the bank, and they paying somebody $400 or $500 a month in credit card or different bills. You know, you just gotta be realistic about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't sound good at all.
It's all about what you're doing. And like I said, I go break that down because I tell my business clients, get your line of credit. You know, I'd rather you come out of, maxing out a card, paying for 50,000, paying $400 or $500 a month on that, and you got your cash. And then once cash gone. But at the end of the day, when you're paying on that line of credit, you get a couple of invoices in, you can pay that off.
Mm-hmm.
But once your cash is gone, it's gone.
Mm.
And then once your credit card, you end up maxing that out. Now how you gonna pay on the credit card?
True.
Okay.
So, it goes back to, it's not a right or wrong thing with anything. It's what you're doing with that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing about it. I think a lot of times people don't know how to do certain things with certain products. And people don't want to hear an objective voice to what they're doing because they feel that's right or that's what they know.
Right.
And sometimes you talk to a person, you be like, well, that ain't what I'm used to. But that don't mean it's not right. You're just not used to it. It's just uncomfortable.
Right.
And everything. But we all know in life, when we're doing what we do in life, we're going to be on this track.
Mm-hmm.
And things don't change to get better for us to what? We start doing something different.
That's true.
That's the thing about it. When you start losing weight, you get that plateau, you got to do something different. You start doing business, you get to a certain point, you got to do something different. That's just how that goes.
Right.
And everything.
Like IRA.
IRAs, I think IRAs are good. It goes back to, again, what we're talking about with the 401ks. It goes back to where you're at in life as far as age, income, and everything like that. I think all products are good. I just think it is just applicable to where you are.
As a
Yeah.
your individual
Yeah.
situation.
Exactly. A 25, 35, 45, 55-year-old are going to have different things they need. Then we start going into what? The factors.
Right.
What we said, the age, the income, the discipline, the risk tolerance, and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff come into effect, and you got to be realistic where you fall at. Because, again, what you want to do and what you should do and what you have to do, all different. And they go from person to person.
True.
3 different people, same age.
Right.
Some got money, some got time, some got, all that kind of stuff. Like, those kind of things that, you look at, like, you got to take that in consideration. That's why I'm not so big on holistic stuff, and everything.
Yeah, I feel you.
That answer everybody's questions?
On my end, yeah.
I see my man Draker, well, my army buddy Draker just chimed, old James Draker. That's my old battle buddy. And in conclusion to tonight's show, I do want to remind everybody, like I said, start the show off. Please, 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 register to vote. Register to vote. Please register to vote. Again, if you don't know if you register to vote, go to the Secretary of State's website. Look at the voter registration, see if you're registered to vote. If not, going to register yourself. They give you the information what you need to do with your nearest polling location. Usually, I think it was 2 consecutive different elections you haven't voted. They'll take you off the rolls. So please do it. Remember, if you do not vote, you will not be heard. Just
And just vote anyway, just in case.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Please, 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 make sure you register to vote. Get ready for this election. Again, it's Deonte Burden, Mr. Short Dollar himself. You've been tuned in tonight to the Dollar Hour. I hope you guys appreciate it. Worked real hard for this show. Had a blast giving it to you. Well, tonight we talked about how much money do you need saved for retirement. Man, go to the YouTube channel. Go to the Facebook page, Mr. Short Dollar. Also go to the TikTok. Check out my business, Majestic Business Service. Well, we're a one-stop shop for business, for small businesses and individuals. We do bookkeeping, tax prep, payroll, and consulting services for small businesses. You can visit us on the web at www.majesticbiz.com. The number is 678-479-4007. Again, that's 678-479-4007. And again, as I always state, all links and everything are at the bottom of all the videos and stuff. So if you go to the YouTube channel, probably in a couple hours, we'll have everything updated and everything with the links and everything. So you'll be able to get in contact with me or get in contact with the show. If you got any question that you missed, anything you could that we didn't answer, something come to your mind later on, feel free to reach out to us. Most important, like we said earlier in the show, please join the email list. Please join the email list. The link is on there. Hit the email list so you can stay updated with all the newsletters, all the current information, all the classes and courses that we got coming up down the pipe. Guys, I appreciate all the support. Again, Mr. Short Dollar hit 1,600 subscribers this past week. Listen, it was truly organic, truly me grinding and everything. We'll try to get to 1,700 for the end of the month. Thanks so much. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys, and I'll see you next week.